Friday, and a parent asked me if I had seen this video and had heard that it had been brought to the level of the school committee and that it was going to be put on the agenda. I had no idea. I mean, she asked me, have you seen it? I said, yes, I saw it. She goes, I heard that they're showing them how to masturbate. I'm like, oh my God, that the hysteria has gotten, I think it's people are uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, then, you know, it snowballs, and it had gotten out of control. I mean, just tonight, I just came from the Little League field, and people were still talking about it.
Right.
So
it's best that it has come to the school committee because we have both sides can discuss the video, and I know that Mr. Bowers has seen it, and he's comfortable. I'm going to ask him to comment in a second on it. Just want to know if anybody else who would like to see the video continue to be shown or to be shown has any thing they want to add to what he's doing. Yes, in the back.
I have, my name is Maria Menictus, and my kids go to the little school. And my daughter's in 5th grade, and a lot of the video was very good for them. It was very educational, and I agree with most part, but for my daughter, I don't know, I think there were the two friends that were talking in the video. They were saying how, oh, one of the friends goes, I'm so jealous. You know, the boys look at you because you're so developed. I mean, I think
true.
there's a better way to maybe in this video, to portray it. Like, instead of saying something like that, say, you know, all girls develop differently at different ages. Not, oh, I'm so jealous of you because all the boys were looking at you at the dance or wherever it was. You know, I mean, for a girl who's not going to develop, what is she going to grow up thinking? She needs a boob job? Seriously. Because boys are not going to look at her?
Well, I'd like to hear from, okay, you wanted to add something?
I just want to say that the whole point of the discussion, that the video, what we were told, the notice we got home was that the discussion was supposed to be talking about the changes of puberty. That is what, the bodily changes of puberty. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for all this sexualized stuff. And some of us really felt those videos. We're not saying we want to get rid of the discussion. I don't even have a problem if we do it in May. I'm just saying, can we not use the video? The nurses can continue to discuss it. We're not saying eliminate a program. What we're saying is that what the school committee had approved, I don't know how many of you have seen it, but you know, you've approved a program that was based on the bodily changes during puberty.
I don't know if anybody on this school committee approved that program. I've never, none of us. I think that was approved a long
Well, the
time
person
ago.
we were told that the
We were
school
told it was
committee
approved.
voted on it, but no one announced it.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
it
they
passed.
told us.
I'm saying nobody on this.
Right,
Okay.
so that's our point, is that we feel as though perhaps you could all review the video and maybe look at it as the eye of a parent of a 5th grader. I'm not saying eliminate the program. I agree. I don't want to opt out because then my child doesn't get to see it. But there is parts of it that are very objectionable. That's all we're saying.
I hear the message. I'm going to let the committee comment. I will say, my one comment up front is we're using a video that's 15 years old, which doesn't make sense to me, so I will ask the administration that. But at this time, Mr. Bowers, I think, may be the only member who saw the video at this point, and I'd just like, if you're comfortable with your comments.
I had gotten several calls from parents who were irate and upset, and I said, well, I got to see this thing. So I trundled on down, and after the 5th to 6th grade fly-up here at school, I went down and listened. I see some faces that I saw that evening out here in the audience. My feeling was that the videos show age-appropriate factual information. I thought it was presented in a professional way on kind of what to expect as puberty arrives in a child's life. Change is going to occur with or without the video. Age appropriateness, on the other hand, is somewhat subjective. As I see it, the material is needed before the changes occur. That means that some of the children are going to get this information a lot earlier than just in time, but the videos do point out rather clearly, I think, that everybody has a different clock, and so not to be worried about your personal development. That was one of the one of the strengths that was present in the videos. It said, just because you haven't developed yet doesn't mean that you won't. And I think that that should settle a lot of the kids' feelings about their development. Mrs. Loray was as a nurse practitioner. She's a North Reading resident and parent. She's going to administer it. She was present at the second showing, the showing that I saw. And my sense was that she was going to deal with this very, very nicely. She was very, very professional, and I think she'll deal with it in a way that will communicate appropriately with the kids. That is going to be done by kids writing out 3x5 cards with their questions and turning them in. The boys see one side, the girls see another. They don't see it together. It seems to me that all of that is good. Unfortunately, we have a whole middle school full of kids who haven't seen it. That's unfortunate, and we perhaps should do something to remediate that. I know that there are a number of parents, some of them here, obviously you've just spoken on the subject of where the videos go from a discussion of puberty into, in the boys, there's just the one mention of masturbation. It's very slight. I would think that if that could be taken out, that might help some parents. And if that helped some parents to let their children see the videos, that would be a real plus. That would be because the more kids that we can see this, I think the better. And I wouldn't have any problem at all with making that change. It may be that that's not hard to do. If somebody's got any VHS stuff around it with a VHS tape.
Well, I thought it was on reel to reel.
No, not reel to reel, but it's a VHS tape. That's editable.
Oh, yeah.
And I can, understand also that parents are most knowledgeable about where their kids are in this readiness for the subject matter. And I think, that obviously you can opt out. I truly think that would be a mistake. I think it would be nice to, again, to edit the video so that we don't have the objectionable, apparently the most objectionable part, and I can understand that. It's a deviation from the development in puberty to a little sexual thing over here, and I can understand how that would be sensitive, particularly sensitive, and perhaps not necessary within the puberty video. Ideally, we'll get parents will get the letter, discuss the subject with their child. The child will see the movie and come home after the class and talk to their parents about it. I remember rather vividly my discussion with my son about this subject, and he said very clearly back to me as I started, "I know all of that, Dad." And I don't know whether he did or didn't, but I got shut down rather abruptly. He's now 47, so I guess he survived it. I think it's a part of the program. It's obviously been approved by the committee in the past, I think it should be conducted basically as planned. But if we can modify the video, I think that would be highly advisable and helpful.
Mr. Venezia?
I just wanted to hear from the principals, the two elementary school principals are here, so I'd be very interested in what they had to say about it. If it's okay with you.
Sure.
It's fine.
Mr. Cease and I both watched it today, so.
I walked away, and I don't have children, but I walked away and I said, gee, they told me I saw it in 1995. I don't remember it. I walked away and I said, well, I suppose it depends on the child. There are some very young fifth graders, there are some very mature fifth graders, and I think the parent knows their child best and what they're ready to receive. That was my thought when I left. I had no problem with the film. I'm sort of, rethinking things as I hear other people's points of view, because everyone looks at something differently. I wasn't looking to, in fact, at one point I almost fell asleep in the back conference room there because I just didn't find it very eventful. I thought it was dealt with well, and I don't really think it seemed dated to me that, maybe kids' outfits or.
Do you consider it part of the curriculum?
Oh, it's not what I consider. It's part of the health frameworks.
It is part of the health framework.
I don't know about that particular word
No, I'm talking
in
about
particular,
the
but in terms of the growing up, yeah. It's for Sunburst Publications, which is a very, reputable publisher of AV materials.
So at fifth grade, state framework requires that we not show this video, but that we delve into this subject with fifth graders. Okay. By the end of fifth grade, right? Glenn?
Interesting.
In my previous district, we did it.
Same film?
It was made by the same publisher, if I recall correctly. I do not recall the discussion point here as I hear the word masturbation. I don't recall that in my previous district's film. So, I think Mr. Bowers has offered a solution. And when I watched it, I didn't have a problem personally with it, professionally with it. However, I could see that becomes the line where some people draw the line, and that becomes the discussion point for me. I thought, just to reiterate what Mr. Bauer said, I think it did a really wonderful job of explaining differences and children to understand the differences between themselves as well as their peers, because we know that they'll all develop at a different rate, and I think that was the strength of that video for me.
I was just going to comment, the administrators have seen it, and they don't believe it is part of the framework for the health education for the fifth grade. And I guess the concern I have is that we're saying, well, these 5 or 6 parents out of the approximately 450 parents of fifth grade children have a problem with this part of the film, so we should consider editing out that part of the film. And I don't know if other parents have a problem with another part of the film, or whether or not we should ask each parent, how do you want to edit this film, or do you want to pick out a film appropriate for your child? I'm not even sure why we allow them to opt out, to be honest with you. If it's part of the health curriculum framework, we don't do that for anything else, as far as I know. I just...
Yeah, I think we have to.
Yeah, you can on this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying...
That's part of the state's.
I'm just saying, it's if they have that option, then they don't have to see it. I just have a problem with and I respect the fact that you guys are here, but with a small group of parents coming in and saying, well, we need to make this change, and the administrators don't seem to have a problem with it. I'm assuming either Chris Danju or Pam Bowden have approved this part of the curriculum. So I just, again, I have a problem with a very, very, very small group of people, not having an objection. Obviously you're entitled to your objection, but to changing the film because of their objection.
Well, I would just ask the question, why was the girls' film edited and not the boys' film?
My other point is that is, if you look at the data I gave you, masturbation is not part of puberty changes. We're talking about changes that are in the literature about what occurs during puberty.
There's a lot of data out there, and I'm sure that you pick some...
American Academy of Pediatrics.
Yeah.
That word is so briefly mentioned, and I'm convinced the boys are not going to zero in on that.
They spent more time talking about wet dreams.
I want to keep
Yeah.
it to the committee for now. Cliff and then Karen.
I think, the comment was made that it was very brief. It was. In fact, I had to kind of replay the video in my mind to pick up on where that was and how much it was. It wasn't something that I picked off as it was going through, even though I'd been told ahead of time that it was there. So it was not, to me, it was not a big deal, major part of the presentation. On the other hand, it does go beyond what is just the discussion of puberty. It's outside of that just a little bit. And I can fully understand how it would be appropriate to take that out